I got to listen to the Grand Ole Opry. That's all the Grand Ole Opry back in those days were something that it was just it was religiously you listen to the opera on Saturday night because there was just nothing else to do, and the radio was the only thing that we had. And I don't know, I probably 10 or 11 years old or something like that. So and listened to the Opry. I just one night I heard Ernest Tubb sing, and that something stuck with me right there, But the really turning point in my lifetime, which has led me up to now, is I was listening to the Opry one night, and Ernest Tubb said, and my dad had moved away from Hyden here to that when I was, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 or in that area through that. I never got interested in music down here in Hyden at all. It's in Dayton, Ohio. But I was listening to the Opry one night, and Ernest Tubb mentioned the fact that he was coming to Memorial Hall in Dayton, Ohio. I told my dad, I said, I have got to go. You've got to take me down there and see that. He just 10 or 12 or 13 or what it was. I went down there and watched Ernest Tubb. I don't know, there's just something came over me that right there when I saw him. I said, that's what I want to do right there. That's it. That's exactly what I want to do. I like the way he emceed his show. I like the way, I liked everything about the guy. I never thought that I would ever get a chance to meet the guy, And finally, I just kept going. Every time I got a chance to see him, I tried to imitate him. I learned every song that he come out with. I imitated him as much as I could. And at that time of my life, around 13, 14, my voice was low like it. It was young, where his was matured, But he had a deeper voice and heavier, and he carried better than mine. I squeaked like a kid, but was a kid for that matter. I got my dad to buy me an amplifier, and I put me one of them old-time de-arming pickups right across the old Regal guitar had a hole in the center. Jimmy Short, the guitar he played, had a pickup. It looked like that anyway. So I went and got me a pickup and an amplifier, and I got to learning to play the lead part on the songs, with the guitar. And so when Tubb come on the Opry every Saturday night, I came on right with him. I mean, I was just all, when he hit the theme song, the breaks of the guitar and everything, I stood right there with it plugged in and all that. And but I followed Ernest Tubb until I was about 16, and my voice kind of. One night I was listening to the Opry, and just out of the clear blue sky, I didn't know who. Tubb was the only guy. I remember listening to Curly Fox and Texas Ruby, and but one night I was listening to the Royal Crown Cola show. Pee Wee King headlined that show back then, and all of a sudden they said, they introduced Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys, I'm sure, but nobody never said a word. And of course that was in later years I learned that was one of Bill's characters. He just shut up, never said nothing. Well, this sound come through there with Cumberland Gap. And I didn't know what Cumberland Gap, or I knew there's a Cumberland Gap up here in Kentucky where they all come together. But that's the only Cumberland Gap I knew. But I heard that banjo come through that radio, and there's another streak of lightning hit me. I thought, one man cannot absolutely do that right there. And come to find out, lo and behold, that became Earl Scruggs, So then, that changed my life completely right there again, I never lost faith in Ernest Tubb. He never lost a fan. I always was his fan. And we've recorded his songs down through the years. And I thought as much of him when I got into bluegrass as I ever did when I was trying to imitate him. But I got interested. I learned that Earl Scruggs played with Bill Monroe. Well, when they'd introduced Monroe, I knew that Earl Scruggs would be there, Then I got to hear Lester Flatt, he got to singing. And one night I was listening to Monroe, he said, we're going to be at Memorial Hall tomorrow. And it come a big snow that night, and I told my dad, I said, snow or no snow, we've got to go down there. I've got to see how that one man can do that right there. It just ain't no way. So we went to, and we got about 10 rows back. And Scruggs played Cumberland Gap that night. And he showed me in about 2 minutes how it was done. From then on, I was learning. Right at that time, my voice, it changed to where it's at now. It just went from low up to high, you know. So I got to learning. I knew what keys. I knew enough about the guitar to know the keys that they were singing in. So I got to sing in those songs, Roseville, Kentucky, and those songs back them days, Molly and Ten Bros. But I was singing them, and I was taking breaks on the guitar instead of the fiddle and the mandolin and the banjo, you know. And I got to singing all of Monroe's songs, and I just got wrapped up in bluegrass, and my voice fit it so good, and I didn't know that that Bill had a high voice or whatever, you know. I never really, just to be honest and truthful about it, I never tried in my life to imitate Monroe's singing. Flat's the one I tried to sing like. I just thought the world of his singing. I really did. And finally learned that Monroe played the mandolin, but a mandolin didn't mean more to me than anything. Because that guitar, I learned to play them fiddle tunes on the guitar, and just like you would on a fiddle or mandolin, you know. There's a man that we got up with, that came to our house one time, was a friend of the family. His name was Otto Ginter. And he said, I'm going to get you an audition down yonder to Middletown. And they had a jamboree down there on Saturday night. And I said, oh, you ought not do that right there. Because I said, I don't think I can do that. He said, you've got to. He said, you got too good a voice. He said, you just got to be, other people need to hear you except you, you know. And he said, if you're brave enough to do it, he said, I know somebody down there. I said, okay. Boy, and he got me and two other little guys, we was playing around. One little guy played, he had electric mandolin playing it, one of them A50 Gibsons. And then another boy was playing, his name was Junior Collette. He was from here. And us three went down there. And I think we'd learned Summertime's Past and Gone. So we got up there and sang that, you know, and I knew the song Ruby, but I had never done it before, you know. And we got such a good applause, scared, oh Lordy. I mean, I bet you that I'd venture to say that my trouser leg was going just like that. I was so nervous, you know, all three of us shaking. And at that time, there was probably about 1,000 people got under that tent that they had. So we got such a good applause, and we did Summertime's Past and Gone, I think, best I remember. And we didn't know nothing else to do. And I did know that my dad had taught me the words to Ruby. And the first time I ever heard Ruby was right in this town here by Cousin Emmy, a little nightclub. They called him a Jenny Barn downtown here then. But I'd heard Ruby. Somehow I know that I learned that. And the guy that was the manager of the station, his name was Randy Daly. He was up to the station. Well, this boy, Junior Collette, he said, sing that Ruby. He said, he might like that. And I sung it, no banjo, no nothing, you know. I sung Ruby, and this guy, Randy Daly, was at the station. He come tearing out of there, and he come there, he said, who sung Ruby down here a while ago? And I said, it was me. And he said, did you know that you have interrupted everything on the station up there by singing that stupid song? I said, well, I'm sorry about that, you know. And he said, get out there and do it again. He said, I've got phone calls. They're stacked up in here right now. The phone is buzzing off the wall for you to sing it again, you know. That was broadcast back then over that station. It scared me to death. And I'd gone out there and sung it again. And he gave me $4. He said, get out here and go home. That's what they paid. The first time I ever sung Ruby, I got paid $4 for it. One day, this guy and a boy at that time, and a man and his wife, they stopped by that station, and they just brought their instruments and come on in. You know, they was listening to the thing on the air, and I sung one of Monroe's songs. It wasn't Molly and Ten Bros, but it was another song. And this boy came in, and he said, I play the 5-string banjo, and somehow or another they just got out their instruments right in the studio after we got off the air, and he had a banjo. I thought to myself, that's exactly like that instrument that I saw Earl Scruggs play, you know. So he asked me, he said, you know Molly and Tim Brooks? I said, yeah. So he just kicked it right off, and I sung it right there, and he was and of course it turned out to be Larry Richardson, and so the station hired him, but they wouldn't keep the other two. So the man and his wife, they were from Galax, Virginia, and so was Larry. And they kept him. So the only way he would stay is to get to work with me. So he and I was featured besides of us playing with this guy Chuck Swain and Shorty Hobbs. Well, Larry, he knew I was playing with a straight pick at the time. And Larry, he said, what you need to do now is get you a D28 Martin guitar. He was more familiar with what he had heard the Stanley Brothers on WCYB, and he'd been around bluegrass in a part of the country where it wasn't up there where I was at, you know. And he was the only thing that I'd ever seen that close up that played any part of bluegrass other than what I was doing around there with electric guitar, you know. We all know that the electric just don't go with that bluegrass, you know. So I got to playing that with just a plain guitar. Gordon and Larry and me worked together for a while there, and he said, I know we're going to get us a better job than this. So it was in the summertime, it was in my sophomore year. I'd finished my sophomore year in high school. And we went to Welch, West Virginia. Got over a little old station there, WBRW. We stayed there a little while and made about $10 or $15 a week or something like that, you know. And there was a man came through there one night. We was playing. He and I played. They paid us $10 a piece to play on top of a parking building in Welch. And as a guy come through there, and he said, I know some people up in Bluefield, which is about 35 miles away. He said, they give you guys a job if you go up there. So we never had no car, no nothing. So we got in his car and went home with him that night. And he took us to Bluefield, and he took us to see. The next day was Sunday. He took us to see Rex and Eleanor Parker, and they gave us a job. We worked with them 2 weeks, and then went with the Lonesome Pine Fiddlers. And there's where I stayed for about 3 years, you know. And so
that was the start of it all.
That was the start. That was the start of it right there. Larry and me we were at Bluefield working with the Lonesome Pine Fiddlers, and I was playing the guitar. But Larry told me, he said, I know where there's a mandolin over in North Carolina for $15. He said it's a Gibson. And he said, the guy will take $15 for it. I said, let's go get it. We went over there, and at that time, I got to fooling with the mandolin a little bit. But see, I was playing with a thumb pick and a finger pick, and I had to take that off and get back, and I'd about lost all contact with that straight pick, which is sad. So I would fool with the mandolin a little bit. I learned some chords on it and this and that, but I never really got into playing the mandolin until Larry had left the group. And that became my chief instrument. That time when Jimmy Martin and me got together.
See, I got into it before Sonny did. I really got into, by 1948, I got into it as professionally in 1948. I probably wasn't ready for it, but nevertheless, that's the way it worked out. And 49, I worked 49 and 50 and 51. Sonny got started playing somewhere around 50 or 51 in there, you know, through me being into it, I suppose, you know. And then I went into the military in November '51, and the Marine Corps, by the way. And by the time that I had gotten out of the Marine Corps, which is 2 years later, Sonny had done a stint with Monroe, and he was pretty well familiar with what was going on in the world as far as career, or well, I don't think he thought about a career, but as far as something he liked to do is play the banjo, you know. And when I got back out of the Marine Corps, why? Another thing I guess I should tell you all about is, before I went into the Marine Corps, I did about a 2 or 3 month stint with Stanley Brothers. and might be of some significance here. I worked with Carter and Ralph, and I enjoyed that. I took Pee Wee Lambert's place when Ralph had the car wreck, and they left WCYB in Bristol, and Carter worked with Bill Monroe through that period of time there. And when they came back, Pee Wee didn't come back with them. He had done moved on, and I come back and took Pee Wee Lambert's place for just a little while before I went into the Marine Corps. And then when I went to the Marine Corps and come back, Sonny and me got together. I think it was like 53. Sonny and me, when I come back out of the Marine Corps, Sonny and me actually started using the Osborne Brothers and the Sonny Mountain Boys. And somehow or another, we just decided that we didn't need everybody. It was like so-and-so and so-and-so, so-and-so and so-and-so, and the Bluegrass Boys, and the Texas Troubadours. And we just wanted it to be the Osborne Brothers, just to be different, that was all. Not that we was too good to, but we just wanted to be different. And it was like the Louvin Brothers, the Delmore Brothers, and at that period of time, the Louvin Brothers were about the only brothers team that was going, and we just put it that way. And then later on, when we got up with Red Allen, it was Osborne Brothers and Red Allen, but he was a third partner in the group then. And so after Red left, then we decided it would never be and nobody else. Ruby! Ruby! Honey, are you mad at your man?
We want to thank you all for being just a wonderful audience, and we thank you for coming out. It's the biggest crowd we've had so far, and we hope that you certainly have enjoyed yourself, and boy, we hope that we've done something to help along. Also wanted to mention, too, that my son and his wife and my grandson is sitting right over here. They were here tonight, and no one knew they were coming. They kind of sneaked in trying to catch somebody doing something, I guess. That's all right, too. Not today, buddy, not today. All right, thank you all very, very much. And if you're driving this evening, be sure you've got a car. And use your seatbelt. please use your seatbelt and don't drink and drive. You've been drinking some, let somebody else drive. Because later on this evening, we might be walking and you might accidentally hit one of us, and we don't want that to happen. When you go to the store to buy something, make sure it says made in the United States of America. That'll help us all. Yeah. But don't make the sad mistake of trying to take it to a Ford dealer and get it fixed. Man.